Good day, everyone. My name is Hiromi Hasegawa, a student of University of Perpetual Hope System Delta School of Aviation. For today's video, I'm going to discuss about the turbojet engine, construction, and process. But before we move on this topic, let me give you an idea of what principle used on a turbojet or a gas turbine engine. The basic principle used in a jet engines has been known for a long time. It dates back around 150 BC, when the principle was used in the eolipile, which is a simple construction using a radial steam turbine. This is an eolipile. The steam exits through a nozzle creating a spinning motion of a ball, all according to a Newton's third law of motion. Newton's third law of motion is simply explained as every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. Yes?
What is the concept used on this engine?
Okay, that's a great question. The concept used on this engine is similar concept as the internal combustion engine. Suck, squeeze, bang, and blow. But for this engine, they added expansion, which is a part of a turbine section. Okay, now I'm done discussing the principles and concepts used for a jet engine. Now let's move to our topic, which is the turbojet engine. Let's listen to our historian, Yutan Ku. Thank you for that. Hi guys, my name is Dr. Yutan Ku, your historian for today. The first patent for using a gas turbine to power an aircraft was filed in 1921 by a Frenchman, Maxime Guillemot. His engine was be an axial flow. Turbojet was never constructed as it would have required considerable advances over the state-of-the-art in compressor. In 1928, British RAF College Cranwell cadet Frank Whittle formally submitted his ideas for a turbojet to his superiors. In October 1929, he developed his ideas further. On 16 January 1930, in England, Whittle submitted his first patent granted in 1932. The patent showed a two-stage axial compressor feeding a single-sided centrifugal compressor. Practical axial compressors were made possible by ideas from A. Griffith. In a seminal paper in 1926, Whittle would later concentrate on the simpler centrifugal compressor only for a variety of practical reasons. Whittle had the first turbojet to run the power jets world on 12 April 1937. It was liquid-fueled and included a self-contained fuel pump. Whittle team experienced near panic when the engine would not stop accelerating even after the fuel was switched off. It turned out that fuel had leaked into the engine and accumulated in pools, so the engine would not stop until the leaked fuel had burned off. Whittle was unable to interest the government in his invention, and development continued at a slow pace. In Germany, Hans von Ohain patented a similar engine in 1935. On 27 August 1939, Heinkel-He 178 became the world's first aircraft to fly under turbojet power with test pilot Erich Warsitz at controls, thus becoming the first practical jet plane. The Gloucester E-28/39 was the first British jet engine aircraft to fly. It was designed to test the Whittle jet engine in flight, leading to the development of the Gloucester Meteor. The first two operational turbojet aircraft, the Messerschmitt Me-262 and the Gloucester Meteor, entered service in 1944, towards the end of the World War II. Thank you. Thank you for that knowledge, Dr. Yutan Ku. Okay, a turbojet engine is a jet engine that produces all of its thrust by ejecting a high-energy gas stream from the engine exhaust nozzle. In contrast to a turbofan or bypass air, 100% of the air entering the intake of a turbojet engine goes through the engine core. The parts of the turbojet engine are the inlet, the gas turbine engine, consisting of compressor, a combustion chamber, and turbine, and the exhaust nozzle. Air is drawn into the engine through the inlet compressor and heated by the compressor. Fuel is then added to the combustion chamber and ignited. The burning fuel adds energy to the exhaust stream by heating and expanding the air. Sufficient energy to drive the compressor is extracted from the exhaust stream by the turbine. The remainder of the exhaust energy is used to produce thrust, a process that is enhanced by the geometry of the exhaust nozzle. As the exhaust gas passes through the nozzle, it is accelerated to high speed as it expands, thus providing propulsion. The thrust produced by the engine can be selective, increased by the incorporating an afterburner or reheat into the engine design. Okay, now let us discuss the sections of the turbojet engines. First is the air intake. An intake or tube is needed in front of the compressor to help direct the incoming air smoothly into the moving compressor blades. Older engines had stationary vanes in front of the moving blades. These vanes also help to direct the air onto the blades. The air flowing into a turbojet engine is always subsonic, regardless of the speed of the aircraft itself. The second one is the compressor. The compressor is driven by the turbine. It rotates at a high speed, adding energy to the airflow and the same time squeezing into the smaller space. Compressing the air increases its pressure and temperature. The smaller the compressor, the faster it turns. At the larger end of the range, the GE90115 rotates at about 2,500 RPM, with the small helicopter engine compressor rotates around 50,000 RPM. Okay, the third one is the combustion chamber. The burning process in the combustor is significantly different from that in the piston engine. In piston engine, the burning gases are confined to a small volume, and as the fuel burns, the pressure increases. In turbojet, the air and fuel mixture burn into a combustor and pass through the turbine in a continuous flowing process with no pressure builded. Instead, a small pressure loss occurs in the combustor. The fourth one is our turbine. Hot gases leaving the combustor to expand through the turbine. Typical materials for turbines include Inconel and Demonic. The hottest turbine vines and blades in an engine have internal cooling passages. Air from the compressor is passed through this to keep the metal temperature within limits. The remaining states do not need cooling. Lastly, our nozzle. The nozzle, after the turbine, the gases expand through the exhaust nozzle, producing a high velocity jet. In a convergent nozzle, the ducting arrows progressively to a throat. The nozzle pressure ratio on a turbojet is high enough at higher thrust settings to cause the nozzle to choke. Turbojet aircraft work on the principle of accelerating a relative small mass of air to a high speed. As optimum efficiency is achieved when the speed of the accelerated air approximates that of the aircraft. Turbojet engines do not reach peak efficiency until speed approaching Mach 2. For sub-Mach speed, a turbofan engine is significantly more efficient and also much quieter due to the greater mass and lower speed of the exhaust stream leaving the engine. And we're done! That's all for this video. Again, my name is Hiromi Hasegawa from University of Perpetual Hope System Delta School of Aviation. Class dismiss.